So we're now here in front of Medical City. There's been an accident between the SUV and the jeepney here, and this is unfortunately quite a significant bump. It's caused a lot of damage to the front of this SUV, but the Jeep didn't take much damage. In one way, it's good that the Jeeps are so strong, but in another way, it's not so great, because modern cars are designed to crumple and minimize damage they cause to other vehicles and to pedestrians. Whereas a jeepney, when it hits something, it just destroys it, whether it's someone's legs or it's another vehicle. So yeah, pros and cons. Anyway, the Pasig City enforcers are dealing with this now. So according to the driver of the SUV, he was behind the Jeep, and then for some reason the jeepney started going backwards. He was honking his horn, jeepney driver didn't stop, smashed into him, and then ran away on foot. Even the enforcers here confirmed, yeah, the driver's run away, he's fled the scene. And they're waiting now for the operator to go here to work out what's going on. Perhaps he doesn't have a license, or perhaps there's something in his pocket that he shouldn't have, or he could be under the influence. You just don't know, because why would you get involved in an accident and then run away? It just doesn't make sense. And apparently he had passengers on board also, but they've gone down already. And yeah, I mean, you've seen in my videos, there are so many jeepneys being driven by people that don't have a license, that don't have a franchise. I'm not saying that's the case here, but it is very questionable when the driver runs away. One of the things the enforcer said is that if this car bumped the jeepney from behind, it's very unlikely the driver would have run away. And perhaps one of the reasons why the accident happened is poor maintenance, because if you look, they've had to put some wood under the wheel to stop it rolling back. And if you look at the tires, you can see there's no tread on them. They're completely slick. In fact, there's even a big slice in here. And if you look at the body inside, there's a few holes also. So yeah, it could also be a maintenance issue. This man crouching down here is actually a witness. He was sitting in the front passenger seat next to the driver, and he confirmed that yes, that's really what happened. The jeepney rolled back for whatever reason and smashed into this car. And just across Robinson's is an MMDA team that deal with street dwellers. They just finished their lunch break. Yes, they do get a lunch break. Everybody has to eat. And what they do is they go along EDSA, footbridges and other public places, and they move street dwellers on, especially when there's complaints about safety, the safety of that person, because if they're in the middle of a highway, it could be very dangerous. If they're on top of a footbridge, they might be obstructing it for pedestrians. And you might remember this footbridge. There used to be a lot of vendors up there. Now not so much. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's a lot better than before, because there's a sidewalk clearing team that regularly pass through there. Anyway, let's continue. That's my first time to actually come across the street dweller group from the MMDA. I don't know what this bus is doing here, why it's making a U-turn. And further along you'll see the anti-jaywalking. They actually position them in different points every day because they don't have enough to cover every single road and every single crossing. Now you might think, hey, there's already a stoplight here for pedestrians that tells them, hey, don't cross, or it's okay to cross. So why do you need MMDA anti-jaywalking? But the truth is, if you don't have them here, people will just run across all of the time and take their chances with the traffic, even though this is EDSA with fast-flowing vehicles. So yes, you still need anti-jaywalking, even if it's a crossing that's controlled by a signal light. And southbound, just before Guadalupe, there's a stalled bus. Okay, so I think they've now fixed it and they'll be able to move on. They really don't want the bus lanes to be obstructed because there's a lot of buses that are coming through. And well, there you go. It's moving now at least. And a little bit further along, there's another stalled vehicle. Actually, the engine's running, so I think it's just overheating. They're adding water now. Again, not the ideal place to stop because it is a bus lane, it is a busy highway, but if they can be done in a few seconds. So he went to pull away, stalled the engine, and now it won't start again. They might need to push start this because the battery, I can hear it's barely turning the engine over. Oh, there you go, he just got it started, so he'll be able to drive away now. I just looked inside, his gear stick is broken, he's pulling on cables and stuff. So, of course, poorly maintained vehicle. Okay, they got it moving now, but I very much doubt it's that safe, to be honest. So over here in Timok Base, you'll see the inspectorate, and their job is to make sure that everyone is where they're meant to be. So they actually drive around and they make everyone sign attendance. So if they're not at their post, they're going to get in big trouble. Because what General Danny Lim found when he took over the chairmanship is that people were fingerprinting and then going home. They weren't doing their job. So now you have the inspectorate, they drive around every single day and they make sure, hey, is this guy where he's meant to be? Is this lady where she's meant to be? And then they compile all the data Maybe some point in the future they could computerize this so that it's a bit more efficient, but for now everyone has to sign it manually. Also here in Timog Base you'll find a lot of MMDA vehicles for rescue and emergencies. So these are the new Hino vehicles. They're tow trucks. They have a flatbed and then a regular style tow truck. They have fire trucks, road emergency trucks. Over here they have an ambulance. So a lot of people don't know that MMDA is so much more than enforcement. They do a lot more. And over here you have one of the military style trucks. This is the Libreng Sakai. So when there's a problem, for instance, the MRT goes offline, they'll dispatch these trucks and they'll carry commuters. It's not the most comfortable ride, but if you're a commuter, you need to get to work or you need to get home, you don't care. All you want is a ride. And these trucks can hold a lot of people. They actually have a few of these. So yeah, today's video is really just showing you, or trying to show, some of the different elements of the MMDA. And you'll see they also have rescue boats. I actually like these plastic ones because they're near indestructible. It doesn't matter what you do to them, they just go forever. So they're great little boats to have, and they're pretty stable. And again here on Ed's HPG and MMDA assisting this rider. He had a self-accident. He crashed in this intersection here. Actually the bike was laying down, they just moved it to the side now because of course there's going to be an obstruction. Doesn't look like the guy has any major injuries because he is walking around. There's a few scrapes on the bike, but otherwise nothing too major. It looks like they'll mostly rub off or buff out. And the driver himself said he doesn't have any injuries. He's wearing proper footwear. He was wearing a motorcycle helmet, crash helmet. Imagine if he wasn't wearing a helmet, maybe it won't be such a happy ending. Anyway, he's just taking a rest. I'm sure he's got a few bruises, and then he'll be on his way again. And here's another thing the MMDA do: clean out the sewers, all the silt and the gunk and the garbage that blocks them up and causes it to flood. As you'll see on the back of his shirt, it says MMDA Flood Control. They actually have multiple teams that go around Metro Manila doing this every single day in different areas, and it requires constant maintenance to keep these clear. And of course, I'm sure you've also seen ladies like this along Edsa and other roads. It can be a little bit dangerous. I worry about them sometimes, but they do various things: clean up the plants, water them and everything like that. So another duty and responsibility of MMDA. We came ahead to the intersection to let the locals know what's going on and prioritize moving this traffic so that the fire truck can pass through. We're actually so far now away from where we started, well into Manila City. We were able to get him on the inner lane, helped a little bit, but it's very difficult, very heavy traffic. So again, traffic is being pushed through a red light to move it out of the way of the fire truck. Actually, if both vehicles pulled to the extreme direction, they could make a narrow space in the middle for the fire truck to pass through. And there's a couple of guys here from Morocco also to make sure that the power is off, and obviously it's dangerous. There's a rainbow. And this truck here is from Pure Force. I know they have a large fleet of emergency vehicles, volunteer agency also. And over here you'll see the BFP medics. I don't know yet if anyone required medical attention. I'll ask them once they're not so busy. Some of the guys look really tired, and I'm not surprised because I remember once I joined a fire, and just being there inside inhaling the smoke for 5, 10, 15 minutes really kicks the wind out of you. And what more if you're handling the hoses, dragging them around and everything like that. There's a few policemen here and they're keeping everyone back because of course you don't know about the structural integrity of this, and anything could happen, so keep them back for their own safety. I am a little bit worried for the firefighters up here because they're on that ledge. One wrong step backwards and well, game over again. And over here you'll see one of the Morocco trucks that's handling the power, and well, we saw the difficulty that fire trucks have to go through. A lot of cars, they don't give way. They either just continue as if there's no fire truck behind them, or they just speed up. What they don't realize is you should pull to the side, make way for the fire truck to pass through. It's very frustrating, but well, all you can do is, if you're on a motorcycle, go ahead and try and help them through. Although I'm not saying everyone should try and escort a fire truck, because if you don't have the right training, you might just cause more problems, you might cause an accident. But in this case it's MMDA, so they have the training, they know, okay, stop this street, push the traffic here, move this one here. And well, all the way from Caloocan here to Manila, we assisted that fire truck. It's only one fire truck, but you never know, that could be the one that saves your life. And just around 10 minutes from that fire, there's been an accident between this compact car and this truck over here, and you can see the window is broken here. It hasn't smashed out, but you can see it's already gone into the little squares because it's safety glass. And the side here, ouch, that's significant damage. So you see MPD are handling this one, and according to the driver of the compact car, he was going straight in this lane, and then the truck suddenly went like that, and that's how the scrape happened. And he said he has a picture on his cell phone, so let's take a look. And over here you'll see one of the MMDA pump stations. This is Aurora Boulevard underpass, well, just above the underpass. And if you take a look inside here, you'll see the generator for the pump. So even if there's no electricity from the city for whatever reason, say emergency, run the generator, and that powers the pumps down below. So right now we're up above, and if we look down, this is the area that usually floods, and they have the submersible pumps down there. So all of the water will drain into that, and it'll be pumped up through those tubes or those pipes. They'll come up here, and then it will dump it out here. Now you might say, hey, isn't that also going to flood up here? Well, no, not really, because it can spread out this whole intersection, and then it can run along this road. And over here is one of the guys that looks after the pump station, and it will flow down here, and it doesn't cause a problem, at least as far as I've seen. So yes, this area will get a little bit wet, but it prevents the underpass from flooding. And if they don't do that, it's not possible anymore. And of course it's EDSA, so it's vital to keep this going.